Right, good morning again to year 2 law students. I hope you're all keeping well. This is another quick video on discharge of a contract, which is chapter 23 of the AQA Law Year 2 textbook. So the aim of this short video is to identify what we mean by a discharge of a contract and the different methods of discharging a contract. So straight to the definition of discharge of a contract, it simply means that both parties discharge the contract if they perform their obligations under the contract. So if I buy a loaf of bread, I pay for it, I've discharged my side of the contract, the shop owner gives me the loaf of bread, they've discharged their part of the contract. So that's the basic definition of discharge of a contract. The most obvious way of discharging a contract is full performance. So the case of Cutter and Powell, have a look at that case. But really the expectation is that if you enter into a contract, you will perform as requested. The next type is to do with what we refer to as divisible or divisible contracts. And sometimes building contracts are a good example of this, where you have to perform parts of the contract, and as you complete those parts you're entitled to some form of payment. So in that case you wouldn't require full performance. There are times when one party may accept part performance if, for example, they don't believe that you can do a good job. So have a look in the textbook regarding cases involving accepting part performance. So that really is a quick introduction to performance being a way of discharging a contract. And then sometimes a contract, unfortunately, can be discharged by breach. And that simply means that one party decides not to complete their side of the agreement. And also there might be circumstances where they notify another person or the other party that they will not be completing the contract, and that's referred to as anticipatory breach, where they notify the other party that they're not going to complete the contract. So do have a look at different ways of discharging a contract. You've also got contracts where time is of the essence, so the contract is naturally discharged after the expiration of the agreed time. So if a contract is scheduled, or the main condition is that it should be completed in 2 days, and the contract is not completed in 2 days, then it's discharged after the 2 days. So have a look at those cases involving contracts where time is of the essence. Right, okay, so next point, and this is quite an important point, another way of discharging a contract is through frustration. And if you remember, frustration is where an unforeseen event causes the contract to become impossible to perform, and usually it's not the fault of either party. So the old rule on frustration was that both parties, the obligations were absolute, so you couldn't get out of a contract if it was frustrated. But the case of Taylor and Cordwell changed all that, and now you can allege frustration where an unforeseen event happens. Typical examples of frustration will be sickness. So if one party falls ill, have a look at the case of I can't remember the name of the case now, but Condor and the Barron Knights. So yes, have a look at that case, and that's to do with personal illness, which can frustrate a contract. Right, I'm going to just make a quick U-turn and head back to where I can get back to the campsite. Right, so so have a look at Condor and Barron Knights, where illness can be a frustrating event. Also, if the main event doesn't happen, so if you book a concert to see a band and one of the band members is ill, or the band are not able to perform because the concert hall's burnt down, then that's another typical example of a frustrating event. And then a third example of a frustrating event will be where the event becomes illegal. So again, 3 quick examples of frustrating events. You've got personal illness, you've got where the main event doesn't happen, have a look at all the coronation cases, and also where the contract or the subject matter of the contract has become illegal subsequently. Right, so the next point to look at is examples of when the contract will not be frustrated. I'm looking at the time now, so we're going over 5 minutes. Right, so again, self-induced frustration will not allow you to claim frustration. So if you are aware of circumstances that might make the contract frustrated and you allow that circumstance to happen, then unfortunately you will not be able to claim frustration. If the event that makes the contract frustrated is foreseeable, again, you wouldn't be able to claim frustration. Now, I think the key thing about frustration is the statutory authority that deals with frustration, and that's the Law Reform Frustrated Contracts Act 1943, which does allow parties to claim remedies. Again, have a look at section 1 and the relevant sections, the case of Hunt as well, where you can claim for expenses spent. So that is really, I don't want to go too much over 5 minutes, so that's a quick summary of chapter 23, discharge of a contract. Please, as I say, these videos are not meant to give you all the details, they're just little tasters to encourage you to read the textbook and make sure that you understand the topic. I'm going to finish now, so enjoy the rest of your Easter break. Have a great Easter holiday, and don't forget, please access Microsoft Teams to complete all the work that I've been setting. Right, good morning and have a great day.